He could catch and run like nobody's business. He had the talent and the size and the physical stature and the reputation of being an incredible wide receiver. And today I want to tell you just a brief anecdote of the power of character. See, I can prove to you in one wide receiver the value of character. It's roughly $24,250,000. Yeah, actually $24,750,000. There was a gentleman that came to play in our fine city here in North Texas for a football team, an American football team. And his position, his talent was such that the contract, as made public to the world, was somewhere around $25 million to play this game of American football. And he had great receptions, and he had lots of yards, and he had a great reputation as a fine player. But he also had an issue in the locker room. He had an issue in the media. He had an issue with other players on the field, not only the opponent, but also on his own team. After a few seasons, short seasons, his $25 million contract was given a goodbye and waved out the door, and he left. Not because he wasn't talented, not because he couldn't perform, but because his character made working with him very difficult. He later came back to this fine city to play for another American football team, but not on the big platform, on the little platform. And the smaller team paid him roughly $250,000 to do the same job at the same level with the same pressures around him to perform, to show off. And the difference between the $25 million contract and the $250,000 contract on the same game, doing the same job in the same city, was the difference of character. Now, you can look around you in almost every direction and find people whose character is weak. We talked yesterday about the idea of becoming who you were meant to be as we go into the new year. Not asking what will I accomplish or what goals will I achieve, not what opportunities will come in front of me, what opportunities can I shake and bake and make on my own, but what character, what kind of person will you become? There are a lot of people, as John Maxwell says it, who have destination disease. They look down the road and they go, that's where I'm going to be. When I get there, I will have arrived. When I have that kind of car, that kind of job, that kind of house, when I have that kind of success, man, I will have made it. And that destination disease forgets that along the journey, you've got to become a different person. Because the character and the personality and the skills and the traits that you have for loving and negotiating with people right now will not carry you at the next level. That seed of opportunity falls on the ground in front of you, and immediately the birds are going to snatch it up. If you don't have the character to hold on to it, if you can't walk it out, and I'm talking about every walk of life, every job description, every career path. Parents and leaders, it's our job to help develop character in our young people. Young people today without character are going to have several short job stints rather than a career opportunity. Now that's okay when you're starting out. Your first couple of jobs, you expect those to last several months as you grow and you learn and you mature. Sometimes that first job will be a long-term job. It might even become your career path. And I've seen people work from the bottom position all the way to management to ownership in a business. But I've also seen those who job hop multiple times. You've seen the commercial where they make fun of that, and it says, don't mistake my multiple job hops for lack of integrity. I never quit a job in my life. Well, that's kind of scary. How did you have so many jobs if you've never quit one? That would imply that you've been fired that many times, which means you may not have a problem with the job, but the job apparently has a problem with you. And again, that goes back to character. It's not important just to have the accomplishments and the accolades. It's important that you have those with character, because without character, you won't keep them. Opportunity may come because you have talent. It will not stay because you have talent. Opportunity may come because you're in the right place at the right time. It will not stay because you're in the right place at the right time. Opportunity may come because you have connections and you know the right people and you know the right answers on the questions. It will not stay because you know the right people or you know the right answers for the questions. Opportunity may come because you or your family have a lot of money. Opportunity will not stay because you or your family have a lot of money. Opportunity stays when you have character. I'll start in 1 Timothy chapter 4. It says, cultivate these things. Immerse yourself in them. The people will all see you mature right before their eyes. The people will all see you mature right before their eyes. Keep a firm grasp on both your character and your teaching. Don't be diverted. Just keep at it. Both you and those who hear you will experience salvation. Just keep at it, and both you and those who hear you will experience salvation. Now, Timothy is a preacher. His job is to lead people to know about Christ. But I don't care if you work at Chick-fil-A, Burger King, or Zales, or Direct Energy. If you fail in character, none of the message that you're trying to share will stay. None of the opportunity that came your way will keep coming your way. If you fail at character, you stand to lose it all. How many times have we seen? Enron is a good example. I mean, financial accounting laws have been changed due to the moral failure at Enron. Moral failure. Character and integrity, stealing money from people, manipulating funds, manipulating how money went in and how money went out, and where money went, and where money came from, and where money went. That's a character failure. That's not about job aptitude. That's not about education. It's not about connections. It's about character. The men and women who failed at Enron hurt a lot of people financially. They did a lot of damage to our economy and a lot of damage to a lot of people's retirement accounts and family life savings. And it was a handful of people with a moral failure, with a character problem that created so much calamity. And it has happened before, and it will probably happen again. The housing bubble, a lot of people made bank on that because they manipulated a lot of other people because of a failure of character. In Mark chapter 4, we see the parable of the seed and the soil. The seed and the sower, many people would say. It says, and some are like the seed that lands on the gravel. When they first hear the word, they respond with great enthusiasm, but there is such shallow soil of character that when the emotions wear off and some difficulty arise, there is nothing to show for it. You ever been around someone who gets a job promotion and within months they're not only in that job that they were promoted to, but they're gone from the company? Is it because of moral failure? Is it because of character? Is it because someone above them made a decision that they weren't ready for? It's clear here that it wasn't about the seed and it wasn't about the sower. It was about the soil. It was about the place, the heart. Was the heart prepared to receive the opportunity, to receive the message, to receive this new information, to receive this chance to do something spectacular? Oh, there's plenty of opportunity out there. And there are times that you have to go hunt that opportunity down. It doesn't always come knocking. Sometimes you have to be in the right place, prepared, when opportunity comes knocking. In fact, John Maxwell says success, or luck, rest at the intersection of opportunity and preparedness. Many people are not prepared. Their character isn't ready when opportunity comes knocking. And opportunity knocks, and it passes right by. Or it knocks, and it comes to stay for a moment, but only for a moment. The difference between a $25 million paycheck and a $250,000 paycheck is character. Will you allow that to happen to you? One last little passage I want to bring up here is from Matthew 7 and verse 15. It says, be wary of false preachers who smile a lot dripping with practiced sincerity, chances are they're out to rip you off some way or other. Don't be impressed with charisma. Look for character. Who preachers are is the main thing, not what they say. Listen to that closely. Because we're not just talking about preachers who stand in the pulpit. That is exactly what he's talking about here. He's talking about people who lead the church, who teach in a classroom, who preach the gospel on the street or on television. But what he's saying is who they are is more important than what they say. Why? Because anybody can manipulate words. If the character of the individual delivering the message isn't consistent with the message, be cautious. Be careful who you're listening to. Who preachers are is the main thing, not what they say. A genuine leader will never exploit your emotions or your checkbook. These diseased trees with their bad apples are going to be chopped down and burned. It doesn't matter what career field you're in, whether it's professional sports or preaching the gospel from the front of the church or teaching on the streets or teaching in a classroom or leading an executive position in a big company or running your own small company. If you are exploiting people's emotions and checkbooks, like Enron, you're going to lose. Eventually, life will catch up with you, and all of your lies will be revealed, and everything that you've done to manipulate others will come to light, and your moral failure, your lack of character, will be the shallow soil. And the seed that was thrown there, the seed of opportunity, the seeds for relationships, poof, they go away. On every level that you advance your education, on every level that you advance your preparedness, your skill sets, your connections, your relationships, you must advance your character. You must advance your character. It's got to grow at the same pace as everything else. There are many, many people who have made it rich, who've made it wealthy, and lost it all because they didn't have character. The story happens over and over again. Saul was a good example as a king. Lost his character, lost his favor, and God moved his anointing to David. If you want to continue to lead, whether it's as a parent, a business owner, a government leader, a military leader, if you don't have good character, you'll never be more than a level 3 leader. You'll always be stuck somewhere in the middle of people only listen to me because I tell them to. I have some influence with certain people, but not a lot of influence with all people. And if I ever leave this job, I'll basically have to start over leading again somewhere else. When you reach level 5 leadership, your character, your integrity, your morality, your sense of being, the who that you are, follows you from one job to the next, from one career field to the next, from one industry to the next, from one environment as boss to home as parent, to stranger on the street, to the guy next to you at Starbucks. Your moral fiber, your character, your integrity as a level 5 leader is obvious in the who that you are when you change from one environment to the next. Why do you think someone like Zig Ziglar, with the character and the integrity and the moral fiber of Zig Ziglar, he was able to go from a Sunday school teacher to a world-renowned motivational speaker, and that transition was seamless. I'm not talking about a journey over 50 years while it was. I'm talking about he could be preaching in the church on Sunday morning and teaching in the United Nations on Tuesday morning because his moral character was strong. John Maxwell is another good example. Jim Rohn is another good example. These are men who can stand in the church on one day and stand in the government offices on the next, because it's not about what they say, it's about who they are. God has done a lot of character development in me in the last 5 years, and he's doing more today. I know he's not done yet. I've got a long way to go. But what allows me to do this show and then sit down and have an interview with someone about completely different ideas, and then travel to the Congo and speak to government leaders about leadership? The name Jesus Christ only came up one time, and that was because they asked me a question. But God is allowing me audience and platform to speak to leaders of the PTA, leaders of other governments, leaders in business, leaders in the church. because he's teaching me character as I grow. Will you focus in the new year, not just on what you could get, not on the money you could make, not on the job you could have, not on the successes and the career plans and the visions and goals of new books and new programs, but on the character of who you are? I promise you this: if you'll lay the foundation of character and learn the strategy of obedience, obedience is a currency. It buys a lot of favor. If you can put those two together, character and obedience, God will open doors you can only imagine. God will begin to make a way for you, bringing opportunities you could have never hunted down. You wouldn't have known where to look. I believe 100%. If you will spend this next year focused on making your character the best it could possibly be, becoming the who that you were made to be, that every opportunity you could ever have asked for will be hunting you down. And they won't just come to pass. They will come to stay. I'm J Loren Norris, and you've been watching Tell It Like It Is TV. Have a blessed day.